Welcome back to AES. In front of us, we have a Praetorian stainless steel unit. You're probably familiar with our black units. This is our new look, and you can purchase both in either a stainless steel or a black. We're going to go over on how to replace a Praetorian PCB board. So first thing we want to do is we want to open up this unit so you can see where the board is. And just like the black unit, your board's going to be on the right-hand side. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to disconnect all these wires, and let me prop this up so you can see it a little bit better. Okay, the first step naturally is to remove this board from the original unit. We're going to disconnect all these wires here and your power source. And don't worry about what you're pulling because the board is all labeled, so we'll be able to reinstall the wires without having to trace them back. So we're going to pull the data connector first. And then we're going to pull all these wires out one at a time. And I'm sorry, my hand is in my way. Okay, so I've pulled all these wires out. And if you look at the board itself, the board has a little bit of a cutout here, and that's where these wires are coming through. So when you go back and connect, naturally your wires will go through here and then onto your connectors. Now, the most important connection here is your camera, is your ribbon cable. On the ribbon cable, there's a little lockdown bar that we want to push up. You want to make sure that this is pushed up, okay? And once you push it up, you can actually pull the ribbon cable right out. Okay, you don't want to pull this ribbon cable out without releasing that lockdown. If you do, that lockdown will break, and unfortunately, the Praetorian board will no longer work for you, so you would have to replace it, and that would mean buying a brand new board. So this is the most important connection. Make sure that you pick up the lockdown first, which is this little bar here. Okay, and once you pick it up, then you can pull the ribbon cable out for the camera. Very, very important. Okay, so now we're gonna work with this board outside the unit so you can see the connections, and we'll take it from there and then we can put it all back together. Okay, so let's go over some of the connections on the Praetorian board. So before we start, like I said, all of our boards, I've actually marked what goes where, and you can see right here, nice and clear, this is your 24 volts in. Right next to that, we have a relay 1 and relay 2. You normally open, common, and normally closed. That's where you have all your relays, your egress, and your ground on this particular unit is over here. Our next connections are your 12 volts connector. So you have a 12 volt here. Okay, and right next to it, there's another 12 volt for accessories. Usually we use that for the push button, and we have 24 volts, which is going to be used for your keypad. Our next connections here is B, that stands for button, which are your 2 green wires. Then we have the microphone and the speaker. The most important connection, however, is this connection here. This goes to your ribbon cable on your camera. And you have to be really, really careful with this because if we snap off the connector here, the pressure connector, this board will no longer work. I have received a few of them. They're no longer working because this little black bar, which is a pressure bar, which actually pressurizes the ribbon cable right into its connector, has broken off, and once it breaks off, the system will no longer work. So that'll be our first connection. So we want to go pins down, okay, and we want to slide it into the board itself. And once we slide it in, we're going to push down on this little black board, okay, connector, and that'll keep it in place. Once again, that's the most important connection of the unit. So now let's start, and we're going to start connecting the button first. Okay, so here we have our push button, and again, it's four wires, 2 sets of wires, red and black, are for your power, your 12 volts, and your 2 green wires are for your button. So the green wires are going to go where it says button right here. It's your first connector. It says beep. Okay, and then we're going to power this with 12 volts, and the 12 volt connector is either this one or this one in the front. We're going to pop that in. Okay, now let's start doing our microphone and our speaker. Okay, right next to our button, you'll see the M for mic, and that's where our microphone is going to go into. Snaps right in. And then we're going to take our speaker, and we're going to put it where it says S for speaker. Okay, and naturally, all these wires will be coming through this hole, so to make it nice and neat. Okay, our last connection is our keypad. Keypad comes with two wires, red and black for power, and the white for data. So the data connector goes right here, and there's the only 3-prong connector. And we're just gonna pop that in. Okay, and there's my data connector, and here's my power. The keypad requires 24 volts, so we're gonna go right into the 24 volt connector. And again, it only goes in one way. And that's all there is to it. Okay, the only two other buttons here that are important are here, that's your program button, and right here we have a reset. Okay, hope that helps, and if you have any questions, feel free to give us a call at tech support. Okay, so here's the finished product. Board has been replaced on the right hand side. All my connections have been made. Ribbon cable is in. My surge board is connected to the power. We're ready to close the unit and put it back in the field and reinstall it. Hope that's helped. If you have any questions, feel free to call our tech line and we will walk you through it. Thank you.